Hey everyone, Ryan here at eTrailer. Today we're going to be checking out the line of the B&W custom fit underbed trailer hitch. And what this is going to do is allow you to use the companion style fifth wheel head. Since these are custom fit, it's important to utilize our fit guide, enter in your truck's information to make sure that it's going to be compatible with your particular truck. Today we have this installed on a Silverado, but regardless of the make and model that you might have, the concept and how this is going to work is going to be the same. When it comes to trailer hitches, there's a ton of them out on the market, and B&W is personally probably my top pick, one of my favorites for sure. And that's because they make really good stuff. You know, the quality is excellent, craftsmanship, fit awesome, and just work like you'd expect them to. What this is going to do, it's going to give you that opening to use the companion fifth wheel head, which I got one across the way here. We'll put that in a minute, but I just wanted to show you what's going on here first. It drops in there, you have your fifth wheel head, and then you can tow your trailer around. And to me, what the main advantage of that is not having to deal with these big rails in the back of your truck. The traditional style rails, they're kind of an eyesore. They take up a bunch of room, especially on a short bed. Those things that take up half the bed in here, having these rails that are permanently mounted. And with this, everything's underneath. You'll have full bed access. It'll look super clean, and you won't have to deal with all that. And not to mention too, you kind of get 2 for 1 with this setup as well. I say that because it's going to come included with a goose ball. All right, so if you happen to have a gooseneck trailer, or maybe you need to tow one of your buddies around or something like that, you can take the goose ball, put that in, and you can get that job done too. Here I have the companion hitch that we're going to be using, and before it's in the truck, I just wanted to kind of show you how this actually works, right? So with the companions, they have this square tube here, and as I'm sure you can guess, this is what's going to drop into our in-bed hitch. So that'll line up in there, you pin it down, and that's really all there is to it. So it's a really simple concept and works out extremely well. With that in mind, these companion hitches are no joke. They're super well built, really heavy duty, and so if you're going to be putting this thing in and out, you definitely want a friend or two to give you a hand with that. B&W actually makes a winch mechanism too that you can pick up if you're going to be taking this in and out of your truck a lot. Probably be worth the investment, to be honest. But what I'm going to do, I'm going to get a couple people together here. We'll get this set up in the truck and go from there. We got our companion in the truck, and this is how it looks. It's really cool that you're able to do something like this. You can go from a goose ball type hitch to a fifth wheel in just a couple of minutes. There are a couple variations of companion fifth wheel hitches that are going to be compatible with the underbed hitch. All right, you have some that slide like this one here, and then some that are fixed. And which one is going to be best for your particular situation largely depends on your truck's bed length. All right, so we have a short bed here today, and that's kind of the trend, at least in our area. I see a lot of these trucks, so the majority of them are short beds now. And if you have a short bed, the sliding type hitch is probably going to be a better option for you. And this is a great example, actually, what we have going on here today. So you can see how close our hitch is going to sit to our cab. And to top it off, we have this flip-up tonneau cover deal here too, taking 6 or 8 inches away. Our truck here today is a perfect example, actually, on where a sliding type hitch would make sense to use. Since the head of the hitch is so close to the cab of our truck, what can happen is you can run into clearance issues. A lot of these trailers are going to overhang a little bit, and if you go to make a really tight turn or something along those lines, the front of the trailer can actually make contact with the cab corner of the truck, something you definitely don't want to have to deal with, right? So when you go to make a maneuver like that, having the slider lets you adjust where that attachment point is, send it further back, giving you that little bit of extra clearance you need to make that tight turn, or get into that parking spot, or do whatever it is you need to do. And then when you're normally towing, put that back up into that position, and you're all good to go. Now, with that all being said, for those of you that have a long bed truck, the clearance or the distance rather from the head of the hitch to the cab of the truck is much greater, and that's typically an issue you're not going to have to worry about. So that's where a fixed style hitch would make more sense. You know, you're not going to be able to slide in or anything because you don't really need to. You already have that clearance from having the long bed. As far as what some of these components are going to be rated for, you know, weight capacity wise, it's really just going to depend on your particular hitch and your particular truck. To give you an example, today with how we have everything set up, our underbed hitch and goose ball is good for 30,000 pounds. However, the companion fifth wheel hitch is rated for 20,000 pounds. And, you know, what I always recommend, look in your truck's owner's manual and see what it's rated to pull. And you never want to exceed the lowest rated number. Being that the underbed hitches are specifically made for your particular truck, you get a really clean install look, you know, and a lot of times they'll be pretty much covered up and you won't even be able to really see them there in most cases, like ours. You know, our wheel well liners kind of come down and cover up the side plates and everything, and you really don't notice it. But the way that these work, you'll just have a handle, and when you pull the handle out, that's how you can remove your accessory, and then when you put it in, it locks everything down, keeping it secure. And this might sound kind of silly, but I'm a big fan of the handle mechanisms of B&W. They're really smooth and they lock right into place. You know, when you go to pull it out, rotate a little bit, it stays open. You can do whatever you need to do. And that's not my experience with, you know, some other manufacturers' hitches. You know, a lot of them you'll have to kind of pull this out and search for that lock and fight it a little bit, which isn't a huge deal, but it's something that can get old, you know, after having to deal with it for a while. Underneath of our truck, here's a good example of how the underbed hitch can look. You know, and they do a great job across the board. Everything will sit up nice and tight against the bottom of your truck, and just a good fit overall, and a really good example. You know, B&W does a great job of thinking things through and giving you the best fit possible, at least from my experience. So for example, today on our Chevy, our fuel tank is over here on the driver's side and sits up a little bit higher, and so they actually put a little relief in there, and you know, you got more clearance, making this easier to get installed and fit better and things like that. And it's the little things, right, that often get overlooked, which can really make or break your overall experience. And with that said, you get a lot of people asking about, you know, are you going to be able to use suspension enhancements with an underbed hitch? And that's a hard question to answer across the board. You know, there's just so many different suspension upgrades and stuff out there, but generally speaking, from my personal experience, the majority of the time, they're going to fit and work with the underbed hitch. It's really important too. You can always utilize the install notes and some of our tech tips on the suspension upgrade pages. A lot of times that'll tell you if they're going to be compatible or not, but like I said, you know, more times than not, you'll be able to use an air spring or, you know, a Timbren or Sumo spring type deal, and even ones that go on top of the leaf springs. Really no reason why any of those shouldn't be compatible. All in all, a really versatile hitch. The fact that you can do so many different things with it really separates it from a lot of the other hitches out there. You know, being able to take the goose ball, drop that in, hook up to your gooseneck trailer, pull this right out, you know, take your companion fifth wheel hitch, drop that in, hook up to your fifth wheel. It's super cool. And the fact too that you can use the companion fifth wheel and you don't have to have the big rails in the bed of your truck, you know, drilling a million holes in the bed and everything else. It's really a no-brainer, and definitely opens up your opportunities on how you're able to use your truck. When it comes to the install side of things, I've done a ton of these on several different makes and models, And the fact that B&W goes above and beyond when it comes to their quality control and everything, the fitment is generally great. Sometimes you run into a couple issues, but it's usually easily overcame and easy to figure out, and everything goes together pretty smoothly. If you end up going with one of these underbed hitches and you just don't really have the means to install it at home, place to work on it, time, whatever the case may be, you can always use our dealer locator network, and that can set you up with a shop in your neighborhood that can take care of this for you. So something to think about there. But with that said, I think that'll about do it for our look at of the B&W custom fit underbed trailer hitches.